The seas are shifting. The Grand Line waits for no one. New enemies are rising, new friends are joining the journey. And the Straw Hat crew is about to face challenges that will push them beyond their limits. One Piece Netflix Season 2 is here, and the legend is just getting started. The journey began with a boy who refused to let go of his dream. Monkey D. Luffy, wearing his iconic straw hat, set sail with one goal that sounded impossible: to become the king of the pirates. In a world where the seas are ruled by ruthless men and monstrous powers, his laughable dream was met with doubt, mockery, and disbelief. But if Season 1 taught us anything, it's this: the seas have a way of bending to the will of those brave enough to chase their destiny. From the very first episode, viewers were swept into the colorful yet dangerous world of One Piece. The Netflix live-action series dared to adapt one of the most beloved anime sagas, and against all odds it worked. Audiences fell in love with Luffy's infectious spirit, his relentless optimism, and the way he turned strangers into family. He didn't just want a crew, he wanted friends who shared dreams as big as his own, and one by one they came. First, Roronoa Zoro, the swordsman who carries the weight of promises etched deep into his heart. A man who doesn't speak much, but when he draws his swords, the world listens. Then came Nami, the navigator with a sharp mind and a tragic past, steering the Straw Hats not just across oceans, but through storms of betrayal and pain. Usopp followed, a storyteller, a dreamer, a coward at times, but with a heart that refused to break. And of course Sanji, the cook with hands made for both flavor and fury, a man whose kicks carried as much heat as his passion for the perfect meal. Together, they became the crew that stood against impossible odds. The first season captured the essence of this found family. From the comedic banter on deck to the raw emotional battles on land, the Straw Hats showed us what it means to fight for each other. But their unity was tested early when they confronted. The ruthless Arlong, with his shark-like strength and iron grip on Nami's hometown, became the first true monster the crew had to face. It wasn't just a fight of fists and blades, it was a battle for freedom, justice, and the soul of one of their own. The Netflix adaptation gave us that unforgettable moment, Nami, crying in despair, stabbing at her own tattoo, and whispering through tears, "Help me." It was the raw plea that broke Luffy's smile for the briefest of moments, and then ignited his fury. That single scene wasn't just an adaptation, it was a statement. A declaration that One Piece live action wasn't afraid to honor the emotions that made the original story legendary. When Luffy placed his hat on Nami's head and walked toward Arlong Park, viewers knew they were about to witness something special. And the battle that followed? Explosive, emotional, legendary, it was the first real test of the Straw Hats' bond. And it proved to the world that this crew wasn't just sailing together, they were willing to bleed together. But even after Arlong fell, the seas did not grow calmer. Instead, the horizon grew wider. Season 1 ended with a promise whispered not just by the characters, but by the story itself. The adventure has only begun. Luffy may have defeated Arlong, but beyond the East Blue lies the Grand Line, a sea where the waves themselves feel alive, where enemies are stronger, mysteries run deeper, and legends are born. The recap is more than a memory. It's a foundation. Every smile, every scar, every battle of Season 1 set the stage for something greater. We were shown the roots of the Straw Hats' bond, the reason behind their laughter, and the pain that gave strength to their dreams. Now, as the sails are raised again in Season 2, those memories remind us of the truth. This crew is unshakable. This dream is unstoppable, and this voyage is only just beginning. Asterisk, the East Blue was only the beginning. Beyond its calm waters lies the Grand Line, a sea that bends fate itself, where pirates rise and fall like the tide, and where every island holds a story. And with the arrival of One Piece Season 2 on Netflix, we're about to meet faces that will forever change the Straw Hats' journey. The first new figure to step into the spotlight is not an enemy, but a friend in disguise, Princess Vivi. To many, she will appear as nothing more than a brave traveler, blending into the chaos of the world around her. But beneath her determined eyes lies a burden few could carry. Vivi is more than just a companion. She is royalty, a leader in waiting, and someone whose country teeters on the edge of collapse. Her introduction will bring an entirely new kind of conflict to the crew, not one of personal survival, but of political intrigue, betrayal, and war. For the first time, the Straw Hats won't just fight for themselves. They will fight for a kingdom, but where there is a kingdom in danger, there is also a shadow pulling the strings. Enter Baroque Works. At first glance, it may seem like a strange collection of mercenaries and assassins with cody names that sound almost playful. But behind this organization is a mastermind so cunning, so manipulative, that every move feels like a trap tightening around the Straw Hats the closer they get to Vivi. The deeper they fall into the web of Baroque Works, and the man at its center, Crocodile. Crocodile isn't just another villain. He is the embodiment of everything Luffy is not. Cold, calculated, and ruthless, Crocodile has power, influence, and a terrifying devil fruit ability that allows him to command the very sand beneath his feet. Where Luffy charges forward with heart, Crocodile waits in silence with strategy. Where Luffy believes in friendship, Crocodile believes in control. Watching these two collide will be more than a battle of fists. It will be a battle of ideals. But Season 2 isn't only about enemies. New allies will join the Straw Hat crew, shaping the family in ways that fans have been waiting for. One of the most anticipated introductions is Tony Chopper. On the surface, he may look like nothing more than a small, blue-nosed reindeer, but his story is one of the most emotional in the entire saga. A misfit who was never accepted by humans or reindeer, Chopper turned to medicine and discovered a new dream to heal those in pain. With the power of the human fruit, he became something unique, a talking, transforming doctor with a heart as big as his courage. His journey into the crew will bring tears, laughter, and warmth, proving once again that One Piece isn't just about epic battles, but about broken souls finding a home. Alongside these central figures, Season 2 will open the door to a much larger world. Viewers will encounter characters whose names might sound mysterious at first, but will later echo across the seas. Agents of Baroque Works with their strange numbers and quirky personalities. Desert rebels who fight for their land even when hope seems lost. Royal guards torn between loyalty to their kingdom and the reality of corruption. Each of them will add weight to the story, reminding us that this isn't just an adventure, it's a war of hearts and wills. And here's the beauty of it. These new faces won't just exist as background. Each one will test the Straw Hats in ways that force them to grow. Luffy will learn what it means to fight for more than his own dream. Zoro will measure his blades against enemies stronger than anything he has faced before. Nami will find herself torn between loyalty to the crew and the safety of entire nations. Usopp will once again struggle between fear and bravery, proving that courage isn't about being fearless but about standing tall despite the fear. And Sanji, he will fight not only with his fists and feet but with his heart as he finds himself caught in battles where compassion can be as sharp as a blade dot. By the time these new characters arrive, the world of One Piece will no longer feel like a small crew on a small ship. It will feel like a living, breathing universe, filled with shifting alliances, whispered conspiracies, and heroes who rise from the most unexpected places. Season 2 isn't simply bringing new faces to the screen. It's setting the stage for a larger legend. Every character, friend, or foe is a piece of the puzzle that leads the Straw Hats closer to the Grand Line's mysteries. Some will break their hearts, some will test their strength, and some will remind them why dreams are worth fighting. For Dot, because in One Piece, no meeting is an accident, and every new face hides a story waiting to be told. Asterisk, the East Blue gave us fierce fights, but they were only sparks compared to the fire that waits ahead. Season 2 of One Piece is not just about sailing into new seas. It's about clashing with storms that will shake the Straw Hats to their very core. For every island they land on, for every enemy they face, the question grows louder. How far? Will you go for your dream? The battles of this season won't be small skirmishes or one-on-one duels that end in minutes. They will be wars. Full-scale conflicts that stretch across deserts, kingdoms, and seas. The stakes are no longer about freeing a single village like Nami's hometown in Season 1. This time it's about saving an entire nation, Alabasta. And when the weight of millions of lives rests on the shoulders of a small crew, every fight becomes heavier, every choice sharper, every loss more painful. At the center of it all stands Crocodile, the warlord who pulls the strings from the shadows. His plan is not just clever, it is cruel. By stirring rebellion, feeding lies, and twisting the truth, he turns a proud kingdom against itself. Soldiers fight their own people. Families are torn apart. Trust disappears in a cloud of sand and blood, and while armies clash, Crocodile waits, ready to take the throne once both sides have destroyed each other. This isn't a villain who swings a sword without thought. He's a strategist, a predator, and every move he makes forces the Straw Hats into battles they never imagined. Imagine Luffy charging headfirst into the desert heat, fists clenched, knowing that his usual smile might not be enough this time. Imagine Zoro, blades drawn, facing opponents whose strength matches his own ambition. Imagine Nami, navigating not seas but political tides that could drown a kingdom. Every member of the crew will be tested, not only by fists, but by choices that could define their future, but Crocodile is not the only danger. Baroque Works unleashes a storm of assassins, fighters, and agents with unique powers that will push the Straw Hats to their limits. Each opponent has a different style, a different trick, and together they create a gauntlet that feels impossible to survive. The battles are no longer about raw strength. They're about creativity, teamwork, and trust. And then there's Chopper. His arrival on the crew doesn't just bring heartwarming moments. It brings power and skill the Straw Hats desperately need. His transformations make him unpredictable in battle, turning a small reindeer into a warrior capable of holding his own against foes much larger than him. But more than his fist, Chopper brings knowledge. His role as a doctor adds a new dimension to the crew's survival, because in wars like this, healing wounds can mean the difference between life and death. The Netflix adaptation has the chance to bring these battles to life with intensity never before seen in live-action anime. Imagine desert duels where every punch sends sand flying into the wind. Imagine sword fights where sparks ignite under the desert sun. Imagine Luffy facing Crocodile, a man who can turn his body into sand, making every punch feel useless. It won't just be a fight, it will be a test of Luffy's spirit, his belief that no obstacle is too great if you refuse to give up. But the battles won't all be fought with fists. Some of the most powerful moments of this season will happen in silence, in moments of sacrifice, in tears shed for fallen allies, in the quiet choices that will change the course of the story. When rebels charge into hopeless battles, when civilians cry out for help, when friends are forced to trust strangers, the Straw Hats will have to decide what kind of pirates they truly are. Are they just chasing dreams for themselves, or are they willing to risk everything for others? That is what raises the stakes. It's not about whether they can win a fight, it's about what they are willing to lose in order to win. And in Season 2, the losses will hurt. Friendships will be tested, and battles will demand sacrifices that leave scars deeper than any wound. The Grand Line was never meant to be easy. Every island is a trial, every sea a battlefield, every villain a reminder that dreams are dangerous. And yet, that's exactly what makes the Straw Hats' journey so powerful. Because when faced with impossible odds, when kingdoms crumble and deserts burn, they don't turn back. They fight, not just for treasure, not just for glory, but for people who believe in them, for promises they refuse to break, and for dreams that no one can steal. Season 2 will deliver battles bigger than anything the Straw Hats have faced before. But what makes these battles unforgettable isn't just the power of the punches or the size of the explosions. It's the heart behind every strike, the unshakable belief that no matter how cruel the world becomes, hope is worth fighting for. Because in One Piece, battles aren't just about winning or losing. They're about proving that dreams, no matter how fragile, can survive even in the harshest storms. Every great story feels larger than life. But bringing One Piece to live action is more than just pointing a camera at actors. It's about creating a world so real that fans can believe they're standing on deck with the Straw Hats, staring out at seas filled with mystery. Season 1 proved that Netflix was willing to take risks. Now, Season 2 promises to take those risks and turn them into something legendary. Behind the curtain, an army of creators, designers, and artists are working to make sure the Grand Line feels alive. This isn't a small pirate ship set built in a corner of a studio. It's sprawling deserts with shifting sands, bustling cities filled with rebels and royalty, and ships so detailed you can almost hear the wood creak when the waves crash. Every island the Straw Hats visit has its own culture, style, and personality, and the production team has the massive challenge of bringing each one to life. Think about Alabasta, a kingdom of golden dunes, ancient ruins, and a palace caught in the middle of a war. It's not just a backdrop, it's a character in itself. The sets need to tell the story of a land where water is precious, where rebellion brews in every shadow, and where Crocodile's grip squeezes tighter each day. That's not easy to capture, but Netflix has already teased that the scope of Season 2 will be on a level far beyond what we saw before. And then there's the matter of powers. Devil fruits, the strange fruits that grant superhuman abilities, are no longer just quirks of animation. They must be transformed into believable live-action effects. Luffy's stretching punches in Season 1 were a test, and now, with Crocodile's sand powers, Baroque Works' strange abilities, and Chopper's transformations, the visual effects team has to step into uncharted waters. Sandstorms that swallow entire battlefields, assassins with powers that defy logic, and transformations that must balance realism with the whimsical heart of One Piece. Done right, these visuals won't just impress fans, they will redefine what live-action anime adaptations are capable of. But it's not all about spectacle. The heart of the show has always been its characters, and the actors who bring them to life carry a weight almost as heavy as the Straw Hats' dreams. In Season 1, Inaki Garoi captured Luffy's wild optimism. Makinu brought Zoro's silent intensity. Emily Rudd gave Nami her balance of strength and vulnerability. Jacob Romero brought Usopp's humor and heart, and Taz Skylar gave Sanji his charm and fire. Now, Season 2 will ask even more of them. Bigger emotional moments, tougher choices, stronger bonds. The cast will not only have to fight harder on screen, but dig deeper into the emotions that make each Straw Hat unforgettable. And let's not forget the new cast members stepping into roles fans have been waiting decades to see. Bringing Chopper to life is one of the most ambitious challenges the show will face, balancing CGI with heart, making sure he feels real without losing the innocence that makes his story so powerful. Then there's Vivi, a character who must carry the weight of a nation on her shoulders while still bonding with the crew as one of their own. Casting and performance will be critical here, because these aren't just side characters, they're pieces of the Straw Hats' legacy. The fight choreography is also stepping up. Where Season 1 gave us tight, personal duels, Season 2 will unfold sprawling battles with dozens, sometimes hundreds, of fighters clashing. Every sword swing, every explosion, every moment of hand-to-hand combat must feel raw, intense, and true to the spirit of One Piece. Behind the scenes, stunt teams and coordinators are pushing to capture the chaos of war without losing the clarity of character moments. Because in One Piece, a fight isn't just noise and fury, it's the language of dreams clashing against reality. Music, too, plays its part. The soundtrack of One Piece live action has already created chills with its sweeping themes, and Season 2 will demand even more. Think of the drums of rebellion pounding in the desert. Think of haunting strings as Vivi faces her nation's collapse. Think of triumphant horns as the Straw Hats raise their flag once more. Music doesn't just accompany the story, it lifts it, and the composers are building soundscapes that make the seas feel infinite. And perhaps the most important behind-the-scenes truth is this: the team knows the stakes are high. Fans across the world are watching. Some grew up with the manga, some fell in love with the anime, and others discovered this world for the first time with Season 1. Every group has expectations, and the creators know they must honor them all. It's not easy, but if Season 1 proved Anything. It's that with the right heart, the impossible becomes possible. So, behind the cameras, while actors sweat under the lights, while designers craft worlds from dust and ink, while editors stitch battles into legend, a single thought drives the team forward. This is more than just a show. This is one piece. Season 2 isn't just building on what came before. It's aiming to deliver something fans will remember for years. Something that feels not only bigger, but more alive, more dangerous, and more magical. Because if Season 1 opened the door, Season 2 is tearing it off its hinges and inviting the whole world to step into the grand line.